AITA for being unsympathetic to my mother and telling her she made her own bed. Throw away because this is messy and I have personal/professional info on my main. So some background, I'm the middle of 3 siblings, I have an older sister Emma and a younger brother Sam. Fake names. Our father died when Sam was a baby and our mum remarried very quickly, in hindsight, so quickly Emma and I now suspect she was seeing the new guy before dad passed tbh. Stepdad, not a great dude. Don't get me wrong, there are worse people out there, but he isn't a nice man. Doesn't like kids much, and made it known to us. For some reason, he particularly took issue with Sam. My working theory is that it's because Sam looks most like dad and stepdad is the type of dude who doesn't like being reminded his wife had a life before him. Shit got really bad between Sam and stepdad after Emma and I had both moved out, which resulted in Sam lashing out a bit. It really wasn't oh my god this kid is out of control stuff. He mostly started getting in trouble for being cheeky to teachers, and he once got brought home in a police car. BC he and his friends were drinking in the park, though he didn't get charged or even cautioned. However, mum and stepdad decided this warranted not wanting him under their roof anymore, and kicked him out literally the day after his 18th birthday. He lived with me for a while, then Emma, who is an estate agent, helped him get his own place sorted. Though Sam made it plain he no longer wanted a relationship with stepdad, he tried to reach out to mum several times for a while, but was always met with hostility or radio silence, and he gave up. They now haven't spoken in 5 years. Cut to now, and the problem, stepdad passed away in November and it was hard on mum, which I understand and sympathize with. However, she took his death as an opportunity to reach out to Sam again. He basically told her that she had her chance to salvage their relationship and she chose not to take it, so he's no longer interested in having one with her. Obviously she was upset by this, and she reached out to me to see if I could talk him round. I kinda awkwardly told her sorry, but no. He's right, he put effort in years ago and you ignored it. You've made your own bed on this one. She got upset and started crying. I guess she went to Emma next, cause she asked me what was going on. When I explained, she said she saw where I was coming from, but I was too hard and Sam was being pretty stubborn. I feel bad for making my mum cry, and I understand kicking Sam out was maybe my stepdad's influence, but I was just trying to be honest. Was I the asshole in the process? Edit. Apparently I have to include the word asshole for this conflict to be valid, so yeah, mum and Emma thought I was being an asshole when they called me harsh and Sam stubborn. NTA, personally, I think you were being honest with your mom. She really did make her own bed. You don't owe her sympathy either. She wants her son back in her life once her husband is dead. What happens to this new relationship with her son if she marries again? NTA. She sabotaged her relationship with her son in favor of a relationship with her new husband, and cut her son out for 5 fucking years. Literally kicked him out of the house with no place to stay. If I was Sam, I would be pretty damn bitter about it. Can't just welcome her back with arms wide open after that. At that point, you're used to a life without any parents in it. She got upset and started crying. I understand why she's upset. It's all very upsetting. Be that as it may, it's also all on her. NTA. Imagine how _upset_ Sam must have been when his own mother, his last living parent, chose her new husband over her son. She treated him like an adult the second he became an adult. She doesn't get to go back now. Your NTA. You would be if you tried to pressure him. You sister is bridging on our territory. This decision is up to Sam and Sam alone, not you or your sister. It's up to your mother to earn his love and trust back. If he doesn't want her in his life, that is his choice and none of you have a right to pressure him. Edit, spelling. However, she took his death as an opportunity to reach out to Sam again. Remind her being a mom is not a part-time job where you can come and go at your convenience. Even part-time jobs don't excuse that kind of behavior, so your mom failed at being a mother to Sam completely. But I was too hard and Sam was being pretty stubborn. Stand your ground up. Don't let Sam get bullied into reconnecting with someone he doesn't want to, or else you guys will be the ones getting cut off next. Sam is an adult and he should make his own decisions just like your mom and stepdad were adults and made their own decisions. Please keep standing by your brother. NTA, you stated the truth. AITA for refusing to give my parking spot to a disabled woman. I live in an apartment building that comes with one spot in a parking garage. My spot is the one closest to the elevator. 2 weeks ago the apartment manager came to talk to me and asked if I would be willing to give up my spot since a disabled woman was moving in. I said sure, I would be happy to switch spaces. He said I misunderstood. He was asking me to give up a space in the garage entirely. He explained she used a van with a powered ramp, that she would need 2 spaces to be able to use it. I told him I would not give up my space. I pointed out to him that the parking spot was part of my lease. Last week I came home and there was a large van with disabled plates parked next to my spot. I pulled in, parking as far from it as I could. The next day I get a call from a woman about 7:30 a.m. She said that she was the owner of the van, needed me to move my car. I wasn't happy, I had still been asleep, but I went down to move my car. She did the same thing the next 3 days. Next morning, a Saturday, she called me at 5:30 a.m., and I told her she had to be kidding. I went down and told her that I don't wake up normally until 8:30 a.m. and I would appreciate it if she didn't call before then. She told me that she had plans and not to be a jackass. I reminded her that I was doing her a favor by coming down. That evening, 5:30 p.m., when I got home the van was parked partially in my space so that I couldn't use it. I had her number so I called. When she picked up she said something snarky like, "Isn't it annoying to have to wait on someone?" I told her the difference was I could have her towed and if she wasn't down here in 5 minutes I would. She told me I wouldn't dare and hung up on me. I waited the 5 minutes and called the tow company. It took the company about 30 minutes to get there and tow the car from my space. She never came down. She calls at 6:30 p.m. I picked up and she started screaming. I just hung up on her. She called back, still screaming. I hung up again. About 30 minutes later I get a knock on the door and she and the apartment manager is there. She asked me what hell I was thinking having her van towed. I told her that is what I am supposed to do if my space is blocked, and I did warn her first. The apartment manager said we needed to come to a compromise. I said that I did not need to compromise. According to my lease I am entitled to a parking spot. I never agreed to be woken up early every day, and I certainly ever agreed to give up my spot entirely. She said that she was promised a spot she could use. What was she supposed to do? I told her that she needed to work that out with him, pointing at temperature, and leave me out of it. I am done running every time she calls. She called me an asshole as they left. I feel bad. There aren't any extra spots. It's one per apartment. This isn't her fault, but it isn't mine either. AITA for not making more of an effort to help. Edit. Info I should have put in to begin with. There are no additional spaces. It is one space per apartment in the building, with no extras. The way the garage is laid out I don't see a way to give her extra space without removing one of the spaces. The apartment manager has offered to reduce my rent if I give up my spot entirely. I refused. I live in an area of town that has truly awful parking. I am paying about 30% more for my apartment than a similar one in the same area because I want the parking space. I will not give up my space. Update, the van is back, but now she is backing into the spot. So the ramp is next to the parking space on her other side from me. There is a car parked in that spot. My guess is that she is doing to that person what she did with me, but I don't know that for sure. The other person might have agreed to it. NTA. I think you have it really well. NTA. Honestly, the lady isn't that much of an asshole either. The manager is the biggest asshole. He promised her something he couldn't give. Waking people up at 5:30 a.m. is definitely an asshole move. I'm really surprised your apartment complex doesn't have any disabled parking spots. Most localities require this by code, federal AITA. This is your apartment building's issue to provide reasonable accommodation. It's not your issue. They're putting it on you. NTA. Maybe you could request the manager to pay for your spot in a garage building or something, those you pay for the month, until they figure out what to do. You can't be asked to just give up your space. They have to offer you another one or an alternative. AITA for asking my fiancé to do most of the wedding planning, throwaway and on mobile. My fiancé, 32 meters, and I, 29F, recently got engaged and are hoping to get married in 2022. I have asked my fiancé to take on the bulk of wedding planning and he thinks I'm an asshole for not taking on more of the work. I'll help make decisions and coordinate day of, but I don't want to have to do the research to find vendors or handle little details. We're paying for this ourselves, so a planner isn't an option. The main reason I don't want to plan the wedding is that I don't particularly want a wedding at all. I would love to just elope with the two of us, but he wants a traditional wedding. I've asked if he would compromise on things, like having a ceremony just the two of us and then a party after, but he won't budge. Most aspects of a wedding are things that I either don't enjoy or are things that make me really uncomfortable. Walking down the aisle and saying personal vows in front of people I don't really know, very uncomfortable. Father/daughter dance, not going to happen since my dad isn't in the picture. Dancing, hate it. Drinking, nope. I've been sober for 9 years this summer. Maid of honor speech, won't have one since I don't have a maid of honor. Most of my close friends are abroad and won't be able to make it anyway. Having to make sure everyone is having a good time, not my idea of a good time for myself. I also asked my fiancé why he wants a traditional wedding so much and he said that he wants to experience having a best man speech, hanging out with his friends and getting ready, and having his best friends next to him at the altar. He wants to party and drink with them like he has done at their weddings. All the reasons he wants a wedding revolve around him and his friends, not the idea that it would be nice to celebrate our relationship. I pointed this out to him and this upset him. I won't deny him his dream wedding, which is why I've backed down on eloping. But I don't think I should have to plan this, especially when I'm dreading it so much. Never mind the fact that I work full-time in a very stressful job and am in grad school. He is on admin leave right now, so he's getting paid to hang out at home and has more bandwidth for this than I do. NTA, he wants the traditional wedding, he can plan it. And you can still do all the things he listed: best man speech, stag party, hanging out and getting ready, with a 10-person wedding or less. NTA, I think it's perfectly fair for him to do the majority of the planning when he's the one that wants the traditional wedding. And I really think it's a good point that the reasons he wants it are about him and his friends rather than y'all. I definitely see why you don't want any part of it, especially if you're really not going to have those same experiences yourself, maid of honor speech, etc. And I really think it's a good point that the reasons he wants it are about him and his friends rather than y'all. Yeah, he should have a really awesome bachelor party/weekend with his buddies. Then have the tiny wedding op once. Op is NTA. Honestly, I'd take this as a yellow flag. What other things is this dude going to demand op do just because he wants them? Does he think she should plan the wedding because she's female? This sounds like a great situation for premarital counseling. I would love to just elope with the two of us, but he wants a traditional wedding. NTA. He wants a traditional wedding. You've gritted your teeth and agreed despite your own feelings. He can plan it. He's enough for expecting you to plan something he knows you don't want, especially when he's the one with the time to do it. NTA. He's the one who wants the traditional wedding ceremony. He can plan it. Though it really sounds like he wants the whole traditional aspect of it, where the bride stereotypically does all the work and the groom just shows up for the party and best man speech. You may want to ask him what other sexist throwback ideas he has about marriage and/or kids before you walk down that aisle he wants you to decorate.